Next speaker will be Dolores Henderson, followed by Dennis Marrero, and it's listed as him been downstairs. So if Mr. Marrero is available, please bring him up. Ms. Henderson, good to see you. Oh, you're right there. Ms. Henderson, good to see you.
My name is Dolores Henderson, and I would just like to say that we are the best-run city. How then are the employees of the best-run city continually giving up benefits? The not best-run cities are giving raises to their employees. My job is important. We provide clean water to Palo Verde, to Roosevelt Irrigation District. We deserve better by the best-run city.
Thank you, Ms. Henderson. Next speaker will be Dennis Marrero, I hope I pronounced that correctly, followed by Matthew Phillips.
Mayor, City Council members, my name is Dennis Marrero. Like they said, for years we've been taking concessions. It's hard to take furlough and pay cut when we just noticed right in our work center that got a reclassification on equipment parts supervisor. It was reclassified to inventory management coordinator with a pay raise of $12,522 just for a reclassification on that. The bonuses that are going out, we don't know them all, but we've heard of some. Valley Metro for one, as you know. It doesn't matter what budget you come up with if there's no checks and balances of where the money's going and how it's being spent, then it's really not going to matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marrero. Matthew Phillips is the next speaker, followed by Louis Schmidt, and looks like two people have donated time to Louis Schmidt. Mr. Phillips.
Hello, my name is Matthew Phillips. This is my first time, so I'll try to make it quick. I work at the airport with rubber and paint removal on the runways and taxiways, and it's really important to retain the people and their experience. Fleet operators, contractors are more expensive and aren't even available to help out if it's needed. It's very difficult to have any hope and try to make a career and stay with the city when it's not even close to a bright future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Phillips. Come back more often. Mr. Louis Schmidt, President Louis Schmidt is next, and Don Ramirez and Mario Ayala has donated time. Luis Feliciano, did you provide testimony, or were you going to donate to Louis Schmidt?
It's all donated time, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, it's not marked on his card, so I got to confirm.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Feliciano, is he here? All right, you have up to 6 minutes then. Go ahead.
So, Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you, and members of the public. My name is Louis Schmidt, President of Action Local 2384, and this is Marshall Pimentel, the Vice President. So yesterday we heard the budget being presented to the City Council for the next fiscal year. And there was a predicted deficit, and as you know, we're going to negotiations. Like many other speakers have said, you know, appears to be no end in sight. Earlier, you guys just discussed about if there's no end in sight for this drone thing. Well, we've been waiting over 6 years, close to 8 years for you guys to end in sight for these concessions. So with yesterday's budget discussion you guys had, I was looking for solutions. Which council member, which elected leader is going to come up and say, we have tough decisions to make, we need to look at some tough decisions and look at solutions to end these concessions. The only thing I heard yesterday was, I support, you know, Councilman DeCiccio said that he supports pay for police officers. Everybody supports that. But he also said, let's outsource more, let's outsource more. In order to outsource more, as many of the citizens you may not know, you can't mix the funds from the general revenue to the general fund. And the general fund is where we always find that's where the deficits are at. So in order to show the public and maybe the council, try to educate them on how this works, yesterday there was a graph that was shown to the public yesterday and to the city council on the cost of, you know, public safety and then some of the other user departments. This is all the general fund. So if you see these big lines, this is public safety. The first one is police, and the next one is fire. And the next one down from that would be parks and recreation, less than $100 million a year, and this is just expenditures. So I don't know how we can cut I don't know how you can cut from the smaller departments to try to fix the problem that's in the general fund. So I don't know you guys can see this graph, but to the cameras here, how can you cut from that little piece of the crumb you call a pie to make up the deficit that is on the general fund? And maybe we need another demonstration, so let's see how this goes. So the first, we took this to scale. So for public safety, for police, it's over $450 million to run that department a year, okay? So this is to scale, and we don't want to, but if we keep going, this is going to be over 40 feet, okay, to show that the budget, okay, 40 feet. So, Marshall, you can stop there. Where's that? You're right. That's police, right? And the next one would be fire department. And that one's going to be about half of that. Sorry, ma'am. I know this looks like we're about gimmicks, but it's not. We have to demonstrate to the public and to the council just how do we come to the solutions. So this would be for the police department, I mean for the fire department. Okay, and that's roughly over $250 million. Okay, come back, Marshall, please. And this is all the general revenue, general revenue. And these are the smaller departments. And this is Parks and Rec, where some council members want to just keep contracting out. You know, that's Parks and Rec right there. The next one is going to be streets, you know, right there. Yes, streets. And then Public Works. Ms. Greta Rogers, we agree with you. But so if you look at that, you want to cut from these to make up this. It just does not make sense, okay? We cannot continue, you can't cut to a solution. We've already seen that. Phoenix is not getting anywhere with this. How can you keep continuing to cut from the lowest to try to fix the problem where we have the problem with the general fund? So that is one demonstration. So what are we asking for in negotiations? We're asking for safety, you know, for proper staffing levels. You heard President Piccioli speak about they're down over 900 positions. In our unit, we're down over 700 positions. Okay, I know police is down 500, and we haven't hired firefighters for a long time either. They're down a couple hundred too. But by these staffing levels, the more you keep cutting, the more you keep having injuries. We want proper staffing levels. This past summer, we've had several employees from the water department who've been transported to the hospital by ambulance. Yes, by ambulance, because you're working out there 18, 16, 17 hours, and there's no relief. There's no relief, Mayor, and members of the City Council, and the Mayor and our public members. Your water is critical. Our water is critical, and so our members are still out there. No matter what the temperature is, no matter what the condition is, they're out there to make sure that your water keeps running, that when you turn that faucet on, it's on. But again, we have minimal staffing levels out there. Employees are getting hurt. So safe working conditions. You know, 2 weeks ago on December 2nd, we had, there was a couple big leaks in Phoenix where our crews got stuck out there because there's improper staffing by the water department, and they're downstairs listening too. I hope they're still here. And we had employees working over 18 hours out there, and they were using their own flashlights because we don't even have proper lighting for our employees in the water department. Resources and tools are what's needed to do a proper job safely. When our employees get hurt for doing, if they violate safety protocol, they get disciplined. And so is this what we have to do, have employees start making up their own, you know, rigging their own safety equipment like this? That's uncalled for. We're asking for better communication devices.
You got to wrap up because we gave you 6 minutes and you're going a little over. So
Mayor, I also have all these signatures that I can just add into the record, but I can have them all. Speak up if you want, but they're, you know, we're not going to, you know, I ask you that you be respectful of what we're trying to show the public and yourselves. So all these are hundreds of employees who can't even be here today, and they share the same. I'll read what this title says. Mayor, members of the City Council, we love our community and take pride in the services we deliver our community. However, we are tired of the lack of pride our City Council has in us. Therefore, we insist that concessions cease immediately. We need adequate staffing levels, safer working conditions, and a fair contract. When we say safer working conditions, we've been struggling to get proper communication devices. I see many of these police officers have radios, which is what's needed.
Out of respect, I gave you even additional time beyond the time for the cards you had, so you got to wrap up here. I appreciate it.
Mayor, I believe I had like 8 minutes minimum, you know. I gave you, there was like
there
4 or 5
cards. There were 2 cards that were
cards.
marked with your name. One that may have been, it was in the pile. That's how I was trying to find the individual, but you've gone beyond that. But please just make your final point. And,
I will. It's just, it's, you know, So the other point is we've been asking for communication devices so that our employees can be properly equipped to communicate, whether in case of emergencies out in the fields. We still have gotten over talking to the water department. And is this what we're going to be led to? I mean, we talk about technology. Is this what we need to get people's attention? I know it seems like we're playing games, but we're not, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's time that the city of Phoenix respect their employees and,
All right, thank you,
and
Mr.
stop
Smith.
making these concessions. We, with the mayor,
Louis,
you know,
you've
we can
gone
fill
well
out more
beyond your
cards
time.
if you want, Mayor.
We've got more time.
Let me, I'll
Mr.
wrap it up
Trice,
1 minute.
We have a process in place. You know the process. I respect you so much, but you've gone beyond your time.
Okay, my last point is, we made savings with our benefits program. One of our members is going through cancer right now, which affects many members of the community. And with the benefits changes, he's been told by his doctors that he can no longer go see them. So, Mayor, members of the City Council, we need you guys to find solutions, and we need solutions from you guys.
you very
We've been more than willing to help you guys over and
Thank you
over
very
again,
much.
and it's time that, you know, Phoenix
anyone-
take pride in their employees. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else wish to speak?
Mayor, I have a question for
Councilman
Luis.
Nowakowski, please, of course.
So you talked about being 700 employees down from what? What's,
A couple years ago, in like 07, 08, we were at 2,200 within the unit. And the unit that we represent is the blue-collar employees, all the water facilities employees, all the majority of the aviation streets. You know, we produce all your clean water. We make sure that the water to the Palo Verde gets flowing every day, over 80 million gallons of water. It's the hard work of our employees, Councilman Nowakowski. And we're down over 700 positions because this council keeps cutting positions. But again, you can cut all the positions you want, even in the general revenue, in the revenue departments. But the problem is in the general fund. So you can keep cutting from water, you can keep contracting out like some of these councilmen want. But your problem is in the general fund. And if that doesn't show you that we need solutions from you guys, then I don't know what will.
now, Luis, if I was going to ask the city manager to do a review on the safety, because I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure my colleagues are concerned on the safety issues, especially having employees work 16 to 18 hours straight, what should they look at? Or
Well, what we're looking at is-
direction should I give them?
What the problem that we have is we just have the city hires, you know, great people from the outside, but sometimes all they look at is analytics. All they look at is numbers and statistics. That's all they look at. But they forget the human aspect of it. Many of you, you know, many of you can go home. You guys all have families, but our employees are having to stay out there no matter what. There's no relief. So when there's no relief, we have 24/7 coverage. But when our management refuses to properly staff that, these employees are stuck out there forever. You know, they're stuck out there, and they have families too. They have daughters. They have families. But again, all that comes secondary because we have to make sure that we keep providing clean, safe water to the citizens, and we do that. But the problem, Councilman Nowakowski, is that we've had employees, you know, who said we're willing to help out, you know, to lessen this burden. But what we have is the department refuses to do that, so they make a select few burn them out instead of trying to share the responsibilities among the work group.
Mayor, can I direct the city manager to do a review to find out if there are individuals working that 16, 18 hours, and why is that, and the whole safety issue, especially when it comes to equipment and making sure that our employees are safe, right?
So you can certainly ask city manager to do that, and he can spend up to 8 hours doing that. And if more than that, he can come back before this council.
And
The city
Councilman
real quick,
Nowakowski.
city manager's going to respond, and then we'll get back to you, Mr. Schmidt.
Mayor, Councilman Nowakowski, yes, we never want our employees to be unsafe. We don't expect them to work unsafely. Mr. Schmidt met this morning with the deputy city manager and the assistant city manager, and we committed to work with him and water management on the issues he's raised, and we will continue to do that.
Thank you.
Councilman DeCiccio, please.
Oh, thank you, because since I was referred to, I do love you guys, okay, but I know we're at conflict on some issues, but here's what I said yesterday that Luis was here on, and this is to the labor unions, and this is my acceptance and understanding that you kind of run the show here now, that it was meant, well, Frank, it is true, you guys do it, you win. Oh, Frank, you win everything
Councilman
here.
DeCiccio has the floor.
So all it was I just want to paint the picture so that you see what's been occurring. The city of Phoenix has more money now than it's ever had in its entire history, ever, right now. And we always have a deficit. It's because our expenses are exceeding our revenues. And when you have an expense issue that is exceeding your revenues, you have a problem. You're going to be looking at one of the largest property tax increases ever in the history of Phoenix because of the policies that the city council has adopted in the past few years. Because of that, but that's going to be another issue. But the question that you've got to ask yourself, and this is what I asked Luis and I asked the other labor unions yesterday, I said, look, guys, when you're talking about this, something's got to give in here. Something has to give. There are some positions that are vacant right now that you want to fill that we could fill with people on the outside that are going to be a lot less expensive than what we have today. Our average cost per employee, whether you like it or not, costs totally and all in is $110,000 per employee. We have over 12,000 employees at the City of Phoenix, and it's $110,000. A lot of it is because of the expense that's there. So when you have that, you've got to be able to cover those expenses without covering and hurting your end or impacting your salaries. If we look at these non-essential, non-strategic functions and find somebody in the private sector to do some of those functions, let them do that at a lower cost. Even if we save 10 to 15%, then you can use those monies at these escalated pension costs. You've got to find a way, and things do come down to a number. It doesn't mean I don't care. I love you guys. I come from a labor family. No, I do. My dad was a steel worker. We were labor all the way. My dad was. I changed only because I saw the numbers in there. And sometimes the numbers have got, not sometimes, they always have to work. Things come down to a number, and that means those numbers have to work. So all I asked was try and find those areas that are non-essential, non-strategic, that other people could probably fill other than employees. Sure, Luis, I don't mind engaging with, I love having these conversations. And the other part of it, when you're talking about positions that were cut, they were all vacant positions. They were all vacant positions. Nobody lost their job here. Even in the bad time, in 2010, when we had about 15,000 employees, there were a small company lost more people. Not that I'm advocating that, because I know what it's like to have somebody who's unemployed in our family. But we had, there were 15 actual individuals let go out of 15,000 in 2009, 2010, when everybody else, even small companies, were letting go of that. So what that tells me is that the city has done a really good job of trying to protect you. So when you have those kinds of expenses, you've got to find a way to make it work. And all I asked for was some room to look at those non-critical, non-strategic functions. Go ahead, Luis.
So, I mean, you bring a great point, but in the city right now outsources over $500 million, so you're close to 500. But the problem, Councilman DeCiccio, was I just showed you this graph. If you can only cut from a small percentage, no matter what you cut, no matter what you outsource, you're not going to be able to make up. It can't go. You can keep outsourcing from the water department and other departments if you want to, but that money is not going to go to the general revenue fund. And we just did we outsourced public transit, and they're going to go on strike in 2 weeks when the bowl games are here, because the city loses control when you privatize everything like that.
All right, I'm going to ask, obviously, this is an interesting philosophical debate, but the agenda item was public comment on the
Yes.
proposed change of the MOU and TC, and we have a very, very busy
Thank you for your love, and we
agenda.
love to serve the community.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
President Schmidt.
Luis. Merry Christmas.
We have one other person not wishing to speak, but just says, Mr. George Myers, please give your employees a raise. It's not an action item, item number 30. We're now going to move on to item number. I'm so sorry if you did. I apologize. We're going to try to find it. Ms. Greta Rogers, I believe you.
30 and 52. If you lost it, that's not my fault.
All right, fair enough. All right. We'll.
Before I start on the subject at hand, I'd like to remind you, Mayor, that you have very expansive time frames for attorneys who come and speak here on behalf of a client. We spent 20 minutes listening to Ms. Leibowitz,
Lukowitz, but yes.
Lukowitz, and you never interrupted her. Please exercise equity and fairness to citizens. I am totally in agreement with what Mr. Schmidt and Mr. Pimentel brought before you. This city has neglected the employees like they were dirt under the feet. It's disgusting, it's intolerable, and it's got to stop. The employees of the city of Phoenix are who make it operate. Most of them aren't salaried. They're hourly. You have lost an invaluable number of experienced, skilled, and dedicated employees, and it hasn't all been because they were eligible to retire. You cannot continue to ask for more with less. Every human being has a physical and an emotional mental limitation. You can redistribute to the point where there is no latitude left for redistribution. If we need to raise property tax, which hasn't been raised for 20 years, and it's the most disgusting low property tax in the United States, and we need to raise sales tax to do what we need to do to keep employees so that this city continues to operate, then have the spine and the testosterone to do it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rogers. I did want to address your specific allegation at the beginning. I did give, on the issue at hand relative to the Starbucks liquor licenses, I gave Detective Eric Brendel as much time as he needed to make the case, the legal argument, representing the City of Phoenix, and I felt it was only fair to give the applicant an opportunity to make an adequate response to those legal arguments, each of which took more than 2 minutes. And so I tried to give equal time to Detective Brendel and to the representative, the applicant, Ms. Lukowitz. All right, next on the agenda is item number 31. Item number 31 is a proposal for... Mr. Pimentel, you had, and I'm going to, the card came in about about 30 seconds ago. You were up there with President Louis Schmidt. You did a great presentation with this string, and if you're going to insist, I'll give you up to 2 minutes, but I think it's fair. You've had time at the podium. If you want to do it, go right ahead. It's up to you.
I was completely separate from him, just showing the process.
You were, I guess you were President Schmidt's assistant. If you want to use this time,
Absolutely.
Go right ahead. Now's your time, 2 minutes.
Appreciate it, Mayor, Council, City Manager, and staff. I'd like to read just real quick. There's an new employee, just newly hired, works a second job, wasn't able to read this, so I just really wanted to read this for the public so that they understand what they're going through. Now, the employees, when they get hired, they come in at the lowest step, whereas the executives, they can come in at a higher step and usually do. But these are the employees that come in first time, so I'd like to read the note that he gave to us so that, because he wasn't here today. I thought a job at the City of Phoenix would be an upgrade for my future. I applied and made it through the process. Ed Zerker called us winners at orientation. That all came to a dismal conclusion when I got my first paycheck. The job pays $16.59 an hour. Of that, they take 15.5% for pension, $163 for medical, plus dental and vision. With taxes taken after that, it only equates to approximately $600 take home from each check. That's a 2-week check. If it were not for my wife working, I would be in dire straits. This money wouldn't even cover rent, let alone utilities, food, gas, or to go back and forth to work. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Pimentel. I believe, does anyone else wish to speak on item 30? Anyone here speak on item 30? I apologize if the card may have the wrong number on it or we misread it. Anyone else on here on item number 30? Okay, now we're going to move on to